Girls, what's the most obvious I like you hint you gave a guy, but for some reason they still didn't get it? We were stargazing. Him. Okay. To find a shooting star. Just look at a point that you're attracted to. I look straight at him. Him. No, you need to look at the sky. To be fair. He could have thought you didn't know what he was talking about. Or it's just guys are super bad at picking up flirty cues from girls, so. Guy here. I told a girl on MSN years ago that I had a crush on her. She replied. It's mutual and I didn't know what that meant, so I ghosted her. Oh my god. You were literally using the most revolutionary tool for information sharing discovery. And yet didn't bother to look up the definition of a word. Lol. In one of my college classes I was in a group with two girls. One of them I had a minor crush on. The other not so much. One day the professor mentioned that there was a new mandate for one of our assignments. Pretty frequently after that the girl I wasn't into would make the pun I sure could use a mandate. And look at me and smile. I would just smile back. Pretending I didn't get it. After one of these attempts I heard the girl I was into whisper to her encouragingly, just keep trying. You'll figure it out eventually. I had figured it out the first time. I just wasn't interested. Before my girlfriend was my girlfriend, she was just a friend I had a crush on who texted me saying she f***ed up cause she drunk texted her crush the night before. I replied with damn. Was it bad? And had a conversation with her. Some 20 minutes later I realized she spent the whole night in question texting me. I'm not an extremely intelligent man. Edit. In the off chance my girlfriend actually sees this and recognizes me, I wanna just say I love her a lot. You wanna go out? Double quote. I wish I was joking. Edit. I like all your stories. I also see that guys get teased by fake dates often. Sorry to hear that, dudes. That must feel awful. Edit again because I have to keep saying it. I had to reword my question for him. And when I said dating he replied OHHHH and it finally clicked for him. We dated for a while. We still laugh about the situation because it's just funny to think about. One time a girl asked me out and I panic noed. I tried to double back the next day but she was not cool with it. To be fair. This was 5th grade. A girl once texted me and asked me how am I enjoying holidays and I said great WBU and she immediately replied and without me and I replied so it is. She then asked me if I want to go out with her and dumb 16 years old me with no self-esteem, depressed, and addicted to video games thought she was making fun of me, so I replied thanks no and she just ended the conversation with asshole. Joy. Dot. Yep, I still regret it to this day every time I lay in bed. My boyfriend of now 5 years started asking me out months before we went on our first date. I was just so insecure that I thought he was offering to do things with me out of obligation and I declined so he wouldn't have to. This one is a little different because we'd been going on dates and were clearly interested in each other. We just weren't exclusive or official yet. I asked him if he wanted to make it official but could we make it an easy to remember date? He looked at me and I said oh wow it's late. It's 11:59. Oh crap, what's the date today? Double quote. And he said it the 15th of June. We both grew up in the 616 area code and I said ope. It's midnight. So it's not the 15th anymore. You know what's a really easy date to remember? Double quote. He mulled it over for a minute and said 9/11. Double quote. I stared at him until he said never forget. Double quote. We got covered married using the same 6/16 date. But we still laugh about that moment often. Obligatory edit. Thanks for all the awards. I'm just glad you all liked my story. I was not expecting so many orange reds when I woke up this morning. Obligatory. Not a girl. But I was once talking to a girl I'd met at the coffee shop I hung out at. She asked if I had plans that night. I responded that I planned on doing my normal. Getting really drunk. Eating something from the freezer and passing out. She responded that she was going to do the same but worried that it would bum her out to drink and watch movies alone. I perked right up and said that she should for sure do it. FCK expectations. I finished my coffee, turned and said have a good night, and walked off. Later that night I was drinking and listening to some music when I replayed the conversation in my head. The realization slowly washed over me. Goddamn. I met another girl who was a friend of hers and she said that the only reason she was going to that particular coffee shop was because she liked talking to me and I was there a lot. I guess she took it as an outright rejection, because I didn't see her there again. I saw on Facebook that she had a boyfriend a few weeks later, whereas I was still drinking alone and masturbating in my room. Obligatory I'm a guy, sorry. And I've had pretty low self-esteem for most of my life. One time my friend, a girl I liked, told me I could touch her anywhere I wanted to. I sorta wrapped my arm around her waist in a friendly side hug sort of way, and she immediately smiled, grabbed my other hand and put it on her boob. I was like, oh, cool. I ran into that with a super drunk girl once. Said something like, I tend to make out with people when I'm this drunk. I replied with cool and did nothing cause that's assault. Would you ever consider dating an older woman? I'm 2 years older. He said no, so I dropped it of course. Later he asked me out and I asked him about not dating older women and he said that he thought I was talking about my friend. That his friend had to point out that I was talking about myself and then he felt like an idiot. Lol. I mean TBF. If someone asked me if I would consider dating an older woman, I would assume they were talking about someone 10-20 years older. I wouldn't even think of someone 2 years older than me as an older woman. I asked him out and he replied just the two of us? Double quote. We dated for a while but didn't work out. Maybe he was really hoping for a three-way. I think you are cute. Wanna go to the movies? Double quote. He was pretty shocked when I kissed him. We've been together for 2.5 years now. Mission passed plus respect. Asking for his hand, then writing my phone number on it. I did that 3 times. But of course they never called. I still cringe about doing that. I sent a Drake meme to him. I actually stole the meme from Reddit. It was basically with Drake saying no against confessing your feelings to your crush IRL over the phone or via text, but saying yes to confessing your feelings via a meme. So I edited all the she and her into obvious he and him. He didn't get it at first. Even when I texted him F and chats for me. It took him about 5 minutes and then another 5 to properly respond to it. Meanwhile I was cringing and dying over myself. However, we are dating for 5 months now, so I guess memes help. Well, this is probably the most embarrassing moment of my life, but I'll share anyways. In year 11th I liked this guy and I had been dropping hints for a while, and since they weren't getting me anywhere, I, with a lot of encouragement from my best friend, who was convinced he liked me too, outright told him I like you. His answer hurts a little, not gonna lie, what? That wasn't even funny. To which I had to clarify that I was in fact not joking, I'm being serious. And as it turns out, my best friend was terribly wrong because his answer was, well, this is awkward. I actually like your best friend. The friendship with the guy got really awkward afterward because he kept making jokes about how I liked him. Hey, I'm sitting next to you. But this doesn't mean anything. Don't get any ideas. Completely platonic. You're like another dude to me. Harshy wishes. Needless to say, I got over him quite quickly. Not a girl, but had a hit dropped on me so hard it almost hurts to think about. I was a junior. She was a senior. I had to do all the legwork to get slips signed for us to go to prom. She ended up not being able to get a dress, but still wanted just the two of us to have a special night and then attend an after prom. Took her to a nice restaurant. Ended up back at my parents' house in the basement. Had a pool table. We both played. She got extra competitive by not giving me space, which I reciprocated. After we finished, she said she was tired and wanted to lay in my bed before we went to the after party. So I let her. Looking back 10 years later, I realized we were getting heavy, and she wanted to take it to my room. At least I won at pool. straight up sitting on his lap when watching a movie, kissing his cheek, and nuzzling my head into his neck, plus multiple other obvious verbal and physical clues. But he thought I gave off mixed signals and only wanted to be friends. Guy here. My elementary crush hit up on me 10 years after I last saw her. She wanted me to help her out in a university project. But I told her I can't leave our house unattended because I was alone. So she asked me if she can go to our house instead. I played Gran Turismo while waiting for her to arrive, and decided to take on the 3-hour challenge. She brought with her a couple of Jack Daniels bottles. She's a damn heavy drinker. And she decided to watch me play while we are drinking because it was a lot safer drinking while virtually driving. She then showed me a lot of her sketches of her lingerie work. She was hoping to become a fashion designer. I was too engrossed in the game that I failed to realize she showed me her photos wearing her work. After asking me what do I think about her, I said you're blocking my view. Never heard of her since. And never saw her again. This is so dorky, but I liked a boy in high school and he was nice and we'd talk on AIM a lot, and one day thinking I was being so brave I wrote him, "I've been locked inside your heart-shaped box for weeks LMAO." I thought it was so cute and he was all "or get out." Hahaha, if it wasn't me I'd make fun of me for that. I asked him out on a date. He said he was busy. But hey, my twin is free. Duncan can grab ice cream with you. Double quote. Duncan, I got ice cream. I FK'd off that crush pretty quick. Still all friends though. I think he just wasn't interested, but wow. He said it like you just wanted to be accompanied to get ice cream. For some reason most girls look at you and expect you to figure it out. That or they recreate the fucking German Enigma code and send it your way. I am a guy, but I missed an obvious sign once. Me and a friend were waiting for a few others to show up and they called saying they would be an hour late because they ran down to the university to pick up a buddy. My female friend turned to me and said, "Well, I'll just have to sit on your face until they get here." I replied that it probably wouldn't be comfortable. It clicked in about 2 minutes later and I was lucky she was far nicer than I am smart. Oh my. My poor guy. I had been flirting hardcore for years. Complimenting him. Comparing hand sizes. Suggesting he needed someone to keep his bed warm. Doing everything to be alone with him, but I think the biggest one was once after a Pathfinder game he said it was time to go home and I said, "Your place or mine?" To which I got, "I'm heading to my place." I was so frustrated I literally grabbed him and asked him out. Now I wake up every day next to the best man I've ever known. One from a guy's perspective. I had separated from my then wife. First time dating in 15 plus years. One of my first dates. I meet a woman for dinner. She invites me back to her place. She gives me a tour. It ends in her bedroom. Stood there talking for a few minutes. Me. Alright. I had a great time. I am going to take off. We will have to set up date number 2 soon. Apostrophe. Me 10 minutes later. Did she? Question mark. Fuck. Double quote. In HS I hanged out with 2 boys. I had a crush on one of them but wasn't sure if it's mutual. When we were alone things were different. The third guy would really never tell, but I had gut feeling something was up. So on one cold winter day the 3 of us were walking down a hill on our way from school. On some parts, pavement was frozen and it was pretty easy to slip. So the situation is next. The third guy was first. I was in the middle and my crush right behind me. I slipped and he caught me. We almost fell together but we had a laugh. Third guy didn't really notice. He was talking about something random. So, my crush and I had a moment of sweet eye contact. While holding my shoulders and looking me straight into eyes. This happened. Crush. Let's go ice skating. Me. Sure. D crush. Colon. D is Friday good? Third guy from the distance. I can't Friday, I'm busy. Silence. Third guy. Didn't you hear me? I said I'm busy. Crush. Probably shocked by third guy's stupidity. Okay. Third guy was confused for a second but he just continued talking. He didn't even turned. I'm pretty sure he had no idea something was happening between us. I was trying to flirt with him all night, but I'm a terrible flirt, so I didn't really know what I was doing. At one point I sat on the arm of his chair and he tentatively put his hand on my waist. I put my hand over his and he immediately pulled his hand away. Oh no. He was trying to stop me falling off the chair and I made it awkward. Anyway, we're getting married. Welp, this hurts typing it out. Male massage therapist here. At the time of my stupidity I was 21-22ish. A long-time family friend from another state came to stay at my parents' house to visit our state for a while. This girl is gorgeous. I was always attracted to her when I was a kid. Anyways, she has a jacked up back from post-military life. She asks for a massage. Massage ends. I step out of the room for her to change. She puts a towel on, comes to the door, opens it, and asks if I want to come in and cuddle for a bit. Years later, still regret not taking up her offer. I was super into my friend's wife's friend. I was told she was into me, so all was good. We ended up alone at their house one day. She was dog sitting. I thought this was it. We were drinking and planned to grill later. She said she was going to take a tub and leaves the door open. When I come in, she appears to be asleep, so I keep an eye on her so she doesn't drown, and she wakes up later seemingly annoyed. Later in the night she's completely naked again in the bedroom. But she's seemingly asleep again, so I left her alone and watched a movie by myself. My friend calls me the next day and asks me how it went, and I said nothing happened. He tells me that pretending to sleep is her thing, which is weird. Fast forward a few weeks and we end up in the same bed, kind of drunk. She appears to pass out, so I just snuggled up to her to see if she would respond. Nothing. I roll over and go to sleep. I wake up in the morning and she pissed the bed and blamed it on me. I heard a few months later she thought it would be a good idea to go to my coke dealer's house alone, and she ended up being sexually assaulted by someone, and I still don't know what to think about any of it. Me. Hey. I really like you. Double quote. Him. I like you too. Double quote. Me. No. I like you. Double quote. Him. OHH. Double quote. In his defense, we'd been friends for a few years already. We're married now. I still pick on him about it sometimes. I put my legs on his lap after waiting for him to finish getting over a bad relationship, and his response was, "I'm so glad two friends can be affectionate when there isn't a jealous partner involved." It took another 6 months for me to convince him I was interested, but now we've been together for over 2 years. In college, a guy I liked and I left a party at the same time. So we walked back to our dorm together, chatting and having a great time on the way. Our rooms were on different floors, so I asked him to walk me up to my room. Wink. He said sure. As soon as my hand touched the knob, he turned around and said goodnight. "I'll see you later," and disappeared down the stairwell. Edit. Since this keeps getting the same comment, I was going to walk home by myself, but we happened to be leaving at the same time and going to the same place. I went to school in a small town and felt pretty safe walking by myself at night. We were already in my dorm when I asked him to come to my room. I basically asked him to walk up an extra flight of stairs with me, so there wasn't any implication I wasn't safe to do the 2-minute walk from the second to the third floor by myself. I'll admit it's not the most explicit come on ever, but in my mind the implication was pretty obvious. He either didn't pick up on it or wasn't into it and was being nice. Either way, no harm, no foul. When I was in high school, I had really low self-esteem in terms of dating. It was totally mind-blowing a girl would even be interested in me. That being said, I was talking to a girl I was interested in and she eventually sent me nudes. I had so little experience being friends with girls, I assumed it was a standard friendly gesture that girls do for their guy friends. I wish I was joking about this. Me and a couple of friends went to the strippers back in our early 20s. After one of the strippers finished dancing, she came over to our table and started talking to me. She told me she was done dancing for the night and trying to figure out what to do. She then asked what we were doing and I told her we were going to some clubs after. She said that sounds like a lot of fun and she was thinking about doing the same, but she didn't have anyone to go with because she wasn't from the city. I kind of said that's too bad and we left shortly after. I think I was more in shock than I didn't get it. Actually mentioned this in a different thread earlier this week, not a gal. But still. One of my best friends in high school apparently had a crush on me. We'd always chat about whatever. Like anime, school, and other junk. Anyway. One day she mentioned that she cooked her lunch. Curry. I made a comment that it looks good and she perked right up and said she would make me some for tomorrow. Wasn't until years later did I really pick on the sign since I'm a dense idiot, both then and now. We drifted away due to her being JW. The curry was stellar. OMG. My boyfriend and I are together since 6 years already. Sometimes I will literally ask explicitly for sex and he doesn't get it. Other times I rub my butt in his face, on his lap, whatever, and he still doesn't get it. It baffles me how many times after we were already a couple he was just blind for flirting.